Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 3 of the Savage Axis Project rifle build. Bought this rifle as a channel gun and I've been doing some incremental upgrades to it to try to improve it and make it a little bit better. And I'm excited to shoot it. But first we got to finish some of the upgrades. Now on part 2 I did some stock work and I got this stock much more rigid with less flex for very cheap. Spent under $10 to buy that Rockite. It's just the process of me doing it. There's 2 issues that I've had with this gun, with this rifle from the beginning: the flex in the stock, and then the bolt lift. It has a heavy bolt lift. I've addressed the stock, and then today I'm going to address the bolt lift. The bolt lift kit that I bought on eBay from Desh Industries has come in, so let's install that now. As you can see, I've got this thing apart. If you want to see the full demonstration of how to do this, check out Midwest Magnums. They have a great video on it. I just know YouTube is really weird about any kind of modifications, but just know that you basically use that, take it apart, and I'm going to discard that little piece, and I'm going to be adding those 3 pieces right here. And because you're adding these on there, you're going to actually need a spacer here at the end, so FYI. All right, got the bolt lift kit installed. You can tell right there because of that stainless steel spacer. See if I can kind of show you here, one-handed here. So before, if I grab this with one hand, it would really be a lot of pressure here to flip this over. But you can tell I can just kind of grab it, do it one-handed. Now with any other bolt, you would be saying, what are you talking about? But with this Axis, they're just pretty stout, so I can definitely feel a difference. It's not a perfectly smooth bolt. Still has a little hitch there, but it's much easier. So I'd say success. They say between 20 and 50% lighter. I'm gonna go with probably 20 to 30% lighter, but definitely an improvement. Definitely, in my opinion, worth the $25. I guess I need to show you what it's like after it's fired. That's a different thing, so that is much easier. Pretty happy. All right, so what you see is everything I wanted to do to the gun done. I will say probably took 20% of the force off of it to mess with the bolt. It still has a little bit of a hang up there, and going back to the stock, there is still a little bit of flex there. However, it is much better, and for $25 to take 20% of that bolt lift out, I'm happy with it. For 10 bucks and a little bit of time to take out a lot of the flex out of this stock, I'm very happy with it. Also glad that I sanded out that channel more. You can get 3 pieces of paper easily through it. The things I've done I am very happy with, including this tally base that I put on. I personally am very happy with it. I'm excited that I've been able to do this on a budget and come up with the rifle I have, and I believe it's going to shoot well. I really do. In part 2, I had a lot of great comments from people that talked about pillar bedding. They were asking me questions. I will say the back pillar is steel and the front pillar is plastic on all Savage Axises. And so at some point I could change out that front pillar to a steel pillar. Of course you could bed the action. Several people did mention a real easy and cheap fix would be to bed this scope base. And then someone else mentioned even with the AccuTrigger, you can get a target spring kit that can get me down further, because I can only get down to about 2 3/4 pounds, and that target spring kit gets you down further. And so all great ideas. Thank you guys for that. I might circle back around to those things, but I want to shoot it first. I definitely want to get it out and shoot it and see how it is, see how accurate it is. And then if it's not where I want it to be, I'll circle back around, and those will be some of the first things I do, especially that cheap stuff, because I want to keep this cheap. And if I do the work myself, I can, of course, do it really cheap. I feel like I've improved this rifle. I have fixed the issues I had with it. I think I picked a good base. Everything's torqued down properly, cleaned properly, and I've even broke the barrel in. So it is ready to go. It's ready to put the scope on it, which I'm going to do that here in just a second. Of course, I'm not putting this scope on permanently. The whole point of this rifle is as a test rifle for my channel. So I'll be swapping out scopes if I get them or they're sent to me, and I'll be, testing out ammo and reloads and all that. But this is going to be kind of the default scope, and this is a scope I want to review first. The very first scope I review with this rifle. It's one I bought with my own money, and I really feel like it's very similar to this as far as not the best, but having tremendous value, tremendous bang for your buck. So I'll go ahead and show you that now. All right, there it is. It's Arken EPL-4. I've got these halo scope rings for it. Hopefully I picked the right ones. They're low. Does come with a sunshade. I did buy these separately. They are Arken brand, made for them. Now, why did I pick the Arken? So let me just back up for just a minute and tell you a story. So way back, probably 2014, 2015, maybe earlier, started watching YouTube, started listening to people review scopes. That knew a lot about them. And even from that day until now, the amount of improvement and value that we're getting in scopes is pretty incredible, really. Back then, to get a turret that tracked perfectly, to get a first focal plane, to get a really heavy-duty, durable scope like this with a 30mm tube, even in like 2012, 2014, it's going to cost you probably at least $1,000. And today we have a lot more options that are much less than that. And in all honesty, scope technology and scope improvements have come a long way, and we're not paying near as much money. I'm a big fan of a lot of the same scopes you are, like Leupold and Vortex. I do have 2 Vortex scopes. I'm going to say a controversial thing here that you won't like probably, but I do feel like Leupold makes you pay upfront for the warranty and their quality control. I think they have really good quality control. I don't honestly think they always have the best optics that track perfectly. They don't always have the best glass. They have good glass and good tracking, but not the best. Now, you can, of course, go up to their higher end stuff, and it's just awesome. But stuff priced around this price point of this Arken, it's not going to track as good as this Arken. It's not going to have as good of glass as this Arken, but they have good quality control and a great warranty. And so they make you pay for that up front. But in all honesty, they have a great track record and they're a good scope company. But just the way I am, I always go for a good value. I just feel like you can get more for a lot less money. So 2 things I like a lot is a very rugged scope and then glass quality. Okay. Now, when these Arken came out, I was immediately thought they were awesome. The SH4 was an amazing value. It did have Chinese glass, but it just seemed to be one unbelievably rugged, durable scope with basically perfect tracking. All the people that did torture tests on them said they were great. Then you had the EP4, which was a little higher end, and it had a little bit better glass and just a little bit bigger. Those scopes, however, were 34mm tubes, were very heavy, and basically made just for target shooting. And even though I thought they were really cool and a really good value, I wasn't really wanting that heavy of a scope. But then this scope came out. The Arken, this is upside down, but EPL-4. It's a hunting version. They've scaled it down a little bit. It's still on the heavy side for a hunting scope. but it's a 30 millimeter tube. And the one I got here is the 4 by 16 by 44. I think it's pretty nice for a hunting scope. Now this particular one I got it for $300 on Amazon, which I think is, for what you're getting, is an amazing value. This thing has side parallax, has illumination, and just watch YouTube reviews besides mine right now, and these turrets are like just amazing. Very tactile, nice, good tracking, good turrets. These things are rugged, they're nearly indestructible. I know Backfire did throw his in a pool and it got water in there. Supposedly they were working on their seals after that. But overall, just a tremendous value for $300. If you go back 20 years and you would have told someone you could get this scope with all these, attributes and traits for $300 and features for $300, it would have been incredible. This also is a first focal plane, which usually, like in a Meoptiscope, usually that adds a couple $100. The first focal plane option, of course, is actually not something I care about. I would prefer second focal plane because I'm mainly hunting, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try to learn the first focal plane, actually use the hash marks for holdover and things like that, windage. I just typically dial, but it gives me options and it gives me something new to learn. But usually to get a first focal plane is way more expensive. Something else about the original Arkens I didn't like, besides the weight, was the Christmas tree reticle. This one has a much nicer reticle that's toned down, once again, for hunting. This also is in quarter MOA clicks, which is what I want. I know a lot of people want milliradians. I have no problem with that. I just like MOA. So this basically is what I would consider the perfect scope for me, except for the first focal plane. But like I said, I'll try to get the hang of that. By the way, worldwide lifetime warranty, guaranteed tracking. It's hard to beat this for this price. It's really hard to beat it. Now, what's the downside? Well, if you don't know already, you're gonna probably find out it's made in China. It's manufactured in China. So if you refuse to support Chinese companies, I totally get that. I kind of feel the same to a degree. But once again, this one, I think it's a great scope for the money. This hunting EPL-4 also comes with the Japanese glass. There is an SH4 Japanese glass version, but the standard SH4 has the Chinese glass. But this hunting version does have the Japanese glass. So I really feel like it's a great scope. Now, are there better scopes? About 10,000 scopes you could say are better than this. It's on the low end. But are there scopes where you're getting more bang for your buck as far as glass quality, ruggedness, turret tracking? I don't think so. Features, I don't think you can find a better scope for the money than this scope I'm looking at right now. Hey, just real quick, I wanted to show you these Arken rings, these Halo rings. I'm a big fan of having the torque specs right there and right there. Like, thank you. Thank you for telling me so I don't have to Google it. But these look like heavy-duty, nice rings. So just wanted to show you that. All right, there it is. Clearance is good. No issues. I don't know. I think it looks pretty good. Excited to shoot it. All right, counting the scope caps, the $65 Halo Arken rings, and everything else that I've already put into this is about an $800 gun. Maybe slightly over, but around $800. And I think you've got a lot of bang for your buck with that scope, with this rifle. I think that scope fits it pretty well. I think it looks pretty good. All in all, pretty happy with it. Now, I weighed it, and with everything on it, it's around 9 pounds, which I don't think is terrible. It's obviously not a super lightweight, you know, Kimber Mountain Ascent or some, you know, ultralight arms rifle, but I like it quite a bit. I think it's going to do what I need to do just about perfectly. Really glad I picked the low rings. It's just perfect. Medium would have been too high, so. And about 9 pounds, and I think rock solid. And I think it's going to be a good shooter, so I'm looking forward to shooting it. Next video will be just that. It'll probably be next week, on my next day off from work. I'll get out and I'll start by shooting some factory ammo. Of course, I've got to bore sight this. I've got to get it sighted in at 100 yards, and then I'll just shoot some factory ammo. I've got a few things I want to test out anyway. Of course, the final step will be reloading. I want to get some really nice reloads. I want to focus on extreme accuracy, see how accurate I can get, say, a match type reload, hand load. And then I'm gonna work up several different hunting loads, one for varmints, one for deer-sized game, one for elk-sized game, and just see what I can come up with. I think it's gonna be fun. I'm really enjoying it, but so far I'm pretty proud of the rifle and the scope. And so as I test out scopes, I'll switch this out, of course, and then this will be the default scope I'll go back to, unless I'm so impressed with one of the new scopes that I test out that I just don't want to go back. So this currently is the default scope, and we'll see what happens as time goes on. What do you think? Do you have an Arken scope? Do you think I made the right choice, wrong choice? What do you think of the overall build? Love to hear your comments. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. More videos in this series coming out, mainly dealing around shooting and seeing, you know, actually testing the gun out. Like this video if you've liked it, and hope you have a wonderful day. And until next time, take care.